He stood like a sentinel, the tomb guard's boots echoing across the hallowed ground of Valor Memorial in Cresthaven. 21 steps, turn, pause. But in the crowd, a shadow stirred. A man with icy eyes and a concealed weapon watched, waiting. To the visitors, he was just another face. To Ethan Carter, he was a threat to everything the tomb represented. In a single heartbeat, a routine patrol would turn into a deadly standoff. One where a single move could shatter the silence of this sacred place. What happened next would leave the crowd breathless and a fugitive's plans in tatters. Before we dive into the story, where are you listening from? Share in the comments below. And if you believe values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. The autumn morning at Valor Memorial was crisp, the kind of day where the air felt pure and sunlight turned the rows of white headstones into a glowing sea of tribute. At the Tomb of the Fallen, Ethan Carter stood sentinel, his charcoal gray uniform immaculate, his cap tilted just right, his sunglasses reflecting the quiet reverence of the place. Every movement was precise. 21 steps, a sharp turn, 21 seconds of pause. Then the cycle began again. For Ethan, this wasn't just duty. It was a sacred vow to honor the fallen who'd given everything for the nation he cherished. Ethan was 29, a former Marine with tours in conflict zones across the globe. He'd faced the chaos of war, made split-second decisions under fire. Now, as a tomb guard, his world was one of discipline, where every step paid tribute to those who never returned. Behind his stoic exterior, his senses were razor-sharp, honed by years of training. He noticed everything: the rustle of leaves, the hum of visitors, the rhythm of his own breath. Among the crowd that morning was a man who didn't belong. Lucas Varga, a 38-year-old fugitive, stood near the edge of the viewing area, his tailored coat too sleek for a casual visitor. His close-cropped beard and slicked-back hair screamed polish, but his worn tactical boots hinted at a darker past, one of violence and covert operations. Lucas was wanted by global authorities for arms trafficking and sabotage, a ghost who'd evaded capture too many times. Today he had a plan. His hand rested near the pocket where a silenced Beretta 92 FS waited. Lucas's eyes tracked Ethan's every move, not with awe but with the cold calculation of a hunter. He snapped photos, his camera propped to blend in, but his focus was on sightlines, security gaps, and the guard's rhythm. He muttered under his breath, just loud enough for Ethan to catch fragments over the breeze. Symbols of pride, fragile illusions. The words didn't faze Ethan. He'd heard worse, but something about Lucas's posture, too controlled, too balanced, set off alarms in his gut. Nearby, Clara Thompson, a 72-year-old retired nurse and volunteer guide, was leading a group of students through the cemetery. Her silver hair was tucked under a volunteer cap, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. She'd spent years in crisis zones tending to wounded soldiers and had a knack for spotting trouble. Earlier, Lucas had lingered at her info booth, asking odd questions about guard schedules and camera placements with feigned curiosity. Now, watching him hover near the tomb, she felt that familiar prickle of unease. Clara edged closer, adjusting a brochure display, and caught Ethan's glance during a pause in his patrol. "Ethan," she whispered, barely audible. "That man in the coat, he's asking too much. Something's off." Ethan's face didn't flinch, but he gave a subtle nod, his eyes flicking toward Lucas. He resumed his patrol, every sense now locked on the stranger. Lucas's movements were too deliberate, his gaze too clinical. Ethan spotted the faint bulge under the man's coat, a telltale sign of a concealed weapon. His pulse stayed steady, but his mind raced, calculating angles, distances, and risks. The crowd was a mix of families, veterans, and tourists, their voices a soft murmur against the tomb's solemnity. A young couple snapped photos. Kids clutched small flags. A group of weathered veterans stood quietly, their eyes heavy with memory. Lucas moved closer to the tomb's viewing area, his path weaving through the crowd with rehearsed ease. He paused near a low barrier, his hand brushing his coat. Ethan caught the motion, his instincts screaming, "Threat." Lucas's voice cut through the air, low and deliberate, aimed at Ethan. Impressive show, soldier. All this ceremony for what? A fading legacy? His accent was smooth, almost unplaceable, but carried a sharp edge. Ethan didn't respond, his eyes fixed forward as protocol demanded. But he catalogued every detail. Lucas's weight shifted to his left leg, the faint scent of gun oil, the twitch of fingers near his pocket. The crowd began to sense something off. The couple lowered their phones. A mother pulled her kids closer. The veterans stiffened, exchanging glances. Clara, near her booth, watched it all, her hand hovering near an emergency button. She'd seen this tension before in war zones, where danger hid in quiet moments. She pressed the button, her movement subtle, praying help would arrive. Lucas stepped closer, his voice a hiss meant for Ethan alone. You guard a tomb while your nation fractures. Weak systems, softer ideals. We'll show the world how fragile your symbols are. His hand moved to his coat, slow and deliberate. Ethan's heart stayed calm, his training taking over. He knew the next seconds would change everything. Lucas's hand emerged, sunlight glinting off the Beretta's muted steel. The crowd gasped, a stifled scream breaking the silence. The veterans moved to shield the kids. Lucas held the gun low, not yet aimed, savoring the moment. Beautiful, isn't it? He said, his voice cold. Custom silencer. 15 rounds of precision. Ethan's eyes remained forward, his posture perfect, but every muscle was ready. He disarmed threats in chaotic markets, faced ambushes in hostile zones. This was no different. He noted Lucas's stance, trained, likely ex-special forces. The gun's grip showed wear from real-world use. Lucas wasn't bluffing, but neither was Ethan. Any last words, guard? Lucas taunted. Or will you fall with your empty traditions? The crowd froze, a child whimpering in their mother's arms. Clara's eyes locked on Ethan, her trust unshaken. A veteran gripped his cane like a weapon. Time stretched. Then Ethan moved, not the ceremonial steps of a tomb guard, but the lethal precision of a combat veteran. In a blur, his gloved hand shot out, clamping onto the Beretta's slide with a grip forged in relentless training. Before Lucas could react, Ethan twisted the weapon, wrenching it free. The gun was now Ethan's, as if it had always been. His thumb hit the magazine release, the clip dropping into his other hand. Fully loaded, brass rounds gleaming. His fingers flicked the slide, ejecting the chambered round in a graceful arc, pinging against the stone plaza. Safety on, chamber clear, weapon secured, all in under 3 seconds. The crowd blinked, some later swearing they saw only a flash of glove. Lucas stood frozen, his confidence shattered, his hand grasping air. You, he snarled, but Ethan cut him off, his voice calm but commanding. Beretta 92 FS, custom suppressor, Eastern European craftsmanship. Subsonic rounds. About 1,500 rounds fired, judging by the barrel wear. You picked the wrong place and the wrong man. Lucas lunged, desperation overtaking strategy. Ethan was ready. Using the pistol's grip, he brought the rear sight down in a precise arc, connecting with Lucas's nose. Cartilage crunched, blood sprayed, staining the fugitive's coat. Lucas staggered, clutching his face. You broke my nose, he spat. Ethan's response was ice cold. I neutralized a threat to this sacred ground. The nose is collateral. The crowd erupted in murmurs, some cheering, others stunned. Clara ushered the kids to safety, her voice steady. The veterans nodded, one muttering, "That's how it's done." Sirens wailed, growing louder as Cresthaven security closed in. Ethan held Lucas at bay, the fugitive's bravado gone, his blood dripping onto the plaza. You'll pay for this, Lucas slurred. Ethan's eyes didn't waver. It was over the moment you drew. You missed the silent alarm triggered 2 minutes ago and the cameras catching your face from 5 angles. Police are sealing every exit. Lucas paled as police vehicles screeched to a halt. Officers swarmed, cuffing him and dragging him to a van. A detective approached Ethan, notepad ready. Hell of a move, soldier. Got anything on this guy? Ethan's voice was steady. Suspect carried a modified Beretta 92 FS, likely sourced through underground networks. His stance suggests paramilitary training, possibly Eastern European. Check international databases. His accent and ideology match extremist profiles. The detective scribbled, impressed. An officer rushed over with a tablet. Sir, facial recognition hit. This is Lucas Varga, wanted for attacks across multiple continents. Authorities have been chasing him for years. The detective nodded. We'll have his face everywhere by tonight. That nose won't help him hide. He glanced at the blood trail. Nice touch with the sight. Ethan's expression didn't shift. The Beretta's sight is effective with proper force. He'll need medical attention soon, making him easy to track. The detective chuckled. Anything else? Ethan scanned the perimeter. Check off-grid clinics in Cresthaven's outskirts. He'll likely seek treatment from underground contacts. As police cordoned off the area, Valor Memorial settled. Visitors watched from a distance as forensics teams worked. Clara approached Ethan, her cap askew, eyes shining. My brother was buried here, she said softly. You honored him today, Ethan. All of them. Ethan met her gaze. It's what we do, ma'am. For them. A veteran with a Bronze Star pin stepped forward, offering a crisp salute. Navy, retired. That was textbook, son. Reminded me of my days in the Gulf. Ethan returned the salute. Thank you, sir. Just doing my duty. The sun dipped, casting shadows across the plaza. Ethan resumed his patrol. 21 steps. Turn. Pause. His medals gleamed, each a story of service. The crowd watched in awe, their whispers filled with respect. A girl clutching a flag pointed at Ethan. Mom, is he a hero? Her mother smiled, tears welling. Something like that, sweetheart. In his mind, Ethan replayed the day, not with pride, but with resolve. The tomb of the fallen wasn't just stone. It was the heart of a nation, a reminder of those who'd paid the ultimate price. Lucas Varga thought he could defile it, but he'd underestimated the guard who stood watch. As police vans pulled away, Lucas's curses faded. Surveillance had tracked his earlier movements, and hospitals were on alert. The net was closing. Ethan didn't need the outcome, he'd done his part. The tomb was safe, its honor intact. The afternoon faded into dusk, Valor Memorial's beauty untouched by the chaos. Ethan's steps echoed, each a promise kept. He thought of Clara's brother, the fallen beneath the tomb, the countless others across Cresthaven's hills. This was for them. The tomb guard's creed ran through his mind. My dedication is unyielding. I will not falter. What would you do in Ethan's shoes? Could you stand steady with danger so close and act with such precision? These are the guardians of our nation's heart, not just with ceremony, but with unwavering resolve. Share your thoughts. Have you seen someone rise to a crisis like this? What does Valor Memorial mean to you? Let us know and honor the fallen by keeping their stories alive. The script ends, but Ethan's watch continues. 21 steps. Turn. Pause. Each a testament to duty, courage, and the enduring spirit of sacrifice.